Okay, today in Honors Higher Algebra, we have a review day, so I'm just going to do a super brief review. And then your homework for tonight is you're going to take a top 20 in here today, top 20, not the first 20. By now, you're supposed to be all better on the first 20. Many of you are. The average is like an 18. But some of you are like, dang, I'm still way behind on that one. Well, you're falling behind. You're in honors. You're supposed to be able to handle that kind of thing. All right. So now we're going to take top 20. So if you've already beefed up on the other one, then this top 20 will show you where some more weaknesses are. These are all things you've done before. But the top 20, I would say it this way. They're like some of the harder problems from your past algebra tests. Whereas the first 20 were actually some average kind of problems from your past algebra tests. All right, so that's happening later, but right this second, I want to do a review with you on stretches and shrinks and that kind of stuff. If I had this, do you get that there is a stretch involved? And it's either vertical or horizontal. Next, do you get there's a reflection involved? Okay, and it's either vertical or it's horizontal. And last but not least, there is a move. That's called technically a translation. And that's the part where it goes right what? Right 4. Okay. So here's the part that's hardest. I think the putting in order is one of the hardest things, but I don't think that's the hardest. I think the hardest is coming up with a bunch of points that are on it. So right now, I'd like you to do both. Number one, tell me what the steps are, but the harder thing, find me 5 points that are on this graph. If I were you, my process would go like this. Okay, I think this thing is like over here. And so that tells me I should probably pick x's like -4, -5, that kind of thing. Figure out where you think this graph kind of is. And then choose wisely. Otherwise, this thing's going to go way off your graph. So choose smart things to put in for x. All right. So there's your starter question. Use words like horizontal and vertical and stretch and shrink and up and down. And then over here, put in 5 points. 5 points that would be on this graph. If you can do that, you're in really good shape for the test that's coming on this stuff, which is on Friday of this week. All right, I'm going to pause for a second while we do that little review problem. You are correct. We start on the inside and go right 4. But as I said before, when I told you about this, that's the way I want you to do them. But if there was a key that started on the outside, that's actually okay. I strongly recommend you start on the inside because I think it's the smartest way to go. But it's legal to start on the outside. All right, moving on. The 2 and the 3 are the things on the outside. So as long as you don't say them wrong, you're going to be good because they're part of the same number. So do you get that it does not matter which order these go in? I suggested you stretch before you flip. Works in gymnastics and it will work here. What kind of stretch though? Vertical stretch. Raise your hand if you had vertical stretch. Can be in either spot. Good. And then factor, do I trust the 7? Yeah, because you can trust the stuff on the outside. All right. And then the last thing is a vertical reflect. And again, these two can be reversed. They can switch around. Raise your hand if you said those all correctly. All right. And the last little add-on is, what if you had to say the reflection as which axis is reflected over? I'm not saying that you do. What I'm saying is maybe we'll have a problem that says it reflected over the x-axis. And then you got to like figure out, is that vertical or horizontal? Know what I'm saying? You know it's vertical. Now my question is, which one does that go over, x or y? Don't say it out loud. Think it. If it's a vertical reflect, what I do is picture it in my head. There's my little graph. Vertical is up and down. What am I going over then? If I go over that, that's the x-axis. Over the x-axis. Raise your hand if you had that right in your head. Okay. And if you're having trouble with vertical being the x-axis, here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. If I go vertical jump, I go up in the air, right? It's this way. That's going over the x-axis. The other thing I said is vertical goes with vertical. Dumb little saying, but it helps you to remember that vertical goes with x. Okay? Okay. Now some points. Raise your hand if you already have all 5 points that you could graph on this thing. All right. Then I'm going to call on random people to give me points. Row 6. First person. That would be you in this case. 4 goes in, and what do you get out? 4 goes in, and I'm double checking you, not saying you're wrong, showing people at home how to do this. 4 goes in, and I get 0 on the inside times by -7, which is 0. Raise your hand if you had 4, 0. Awesome. Another point. Row 3. Last person. 5, double checking you. 5 goes in here. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 times -7 is -7. You're correct. Raise your hand if you had 5, -7. Do you get that you just have to graph these then and see where they, connect the dots? All right. Then we just need a few more points here. And let's see, was this prediction kind of accurate about where the thing went? No, not at all. Let's think about this. Shouldn't it go right 4? And the vertical reflect, did I have that part right? Yeah. And right 4 would be over here. And vertical reflect, and then stretch factor 7. That means this gets narrower, but it essentially looks a lot the same. Do you get what I'm saying? Vertical reflect means it's like you grab this with your hands. Here's my one hand, here's the other hand. And I grab a hold of it and I pull vertically. In this case, down. And then it stretches and it looks more like this red one here. Become more narrow. Stretched. Okay. All right. Let's just get a couple more points. I bet somebody put in 3. And if you did, you get -7 also. And these are kind of cool because they're like mirror points that go on both sides like this, across from each other. Okay? And then how about 2? If I put in 2, I'd get -14. And if you put in 1, you get -21. And if you put in 6, you should have had -14 again. There's a list of points. Connect the dots. You can really connect the dots, can't you? All right. There's your next test in a nutshell. That's not everything, but that's like a good review for it. So now, the rest of the hour, we take the top 20. Tomorrow, still more review for the test. The next day, still more review for the test. But I taught you in a different way than what we had in the regular, like the plan. The plan was 2 days on each kind of thing. Okay, that adds up to 6 days. I just taught you all at once, and then reviewed it and reviewed it and reviewed it. And so that's why we have extra days here. So this is cool. We started out behind because we took our first 20 tests, and then now we're ahead. And I think you're going to be fine. We'll see. We'll have a review worksheet tomorrow where you'll have a better idea of, are you really getting this or not? Okay, this is the part where you clear off your desks and you toughen yourself up to being okay with this top 20. And if you only get 5 out of 20, you just got to say, thank you for showing me where my weaknesses are, Mr. Server. Now I'm going to fix them. All right. I want to pause for a second. And in fact, I think that's all I have for the video for today. So the homework for tonight is going to just be, take your top 20, and I'm going to show the kids where on version 1 of the top 20, not the first 20, the top 20, I'm going to show them how to circle the ones they got wrong on today's test, and that's going to be their homework tonight. Is anything you get wrong right now, your homework is to try it one more time and hopefully get a few more right on the ones you get wrong. One kid last hour got 19 out of 20, so their homework was to do one problem over again. All right, for some of you, you're going to get 10 out of 20, so you'll have 10 problems to try again. All right, that's all I got for you for